Hi and welcome back to Manny Centric. Today we are actually doing a little bit of something different. We're going to do a little bit of a review slash tutorial. Since I'm in the middle of doing my nails anyway, stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and basically just look at some of the colors from the Maniology Memphis Mod. And I'll show you how I'm working on a new look for my Instagram page. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start out first with creating the gradient that goes under this stamp. So to do that, we basically go ahead and grab a sponge. And what I decided to do was like a radial gradient. So I'm going to go ahead and apply yellow in the middle. And that color is going to actually be from the February box, I believe, and that's Nikko, Nikko, from Maniology. And then I'm going to follow up with a little bit of orange around it. That's going to be Flashdance from the Memphis Mod box. And then from the previous month, we have that pretty bubblegum pink seashell. That's going to go all around the rim. So we'll go ahead and start with the yellow. And that's this one, by the way, that I'm using, Nikko. And please pay no attention to the fact that I have old nail polish on my thumb from a swatch that I did, because I wanted to see if it would work, and it wasn't gonna work for this particular look. So I skipped that yellow in particular. And then moving on to, I believe this one is Flashdance, so Nikko Flashdance, and then we're going to end up with Seashell. And I got inspired to do this by one of my friends on Instagram. That's Queen Clumper, and she's such a sweetheart. She was actually talking about gradients. I was like, I haven't done one in a while. Also, I always mention that, hey, ooh, this color would be great for a gradient, and then I never do it. So instead, let me go ahead and just get this done while I have it on my mind before I can get distracted by more negative space and data cures that I want to try. And now that I have the sponge wet, now I can go into my stamping part, which is, well, my gradient part. I almost want it to look like a sunset radial gradient. Now I already applied my liquid latex so that I'd be okay. And I'll probably do about 5 rounds of this, because 4 or 5 is what gets me right at the color and saturation that I want. So I'll be right back to go ahead and show you this when I'm done. Alright, I've finished applying my radial gradient like I wanted it. You can see like the yellow right in the center, and a little bit of the flash dance around the edge, and at the very corners are pretty bubblegum pink, that's seashell. And right now what I'm going to do to go ahead and smooth that out, to go ahead and make sure that that gradient pretty much stays right where I want it to and doesn't look as bumpy, I'm going to go ahead and apply a top coat to that generously. I like to go ahead and make sure that there's a lot right on the edge so that it doesn't drag, especially if I'm doing like a radial gradient or something in particular that I'm not trying to see it change shape. And then that smooths out the texture. That's the before, and then that's after the top coat. So we'll go ahead and apply this, and then we'll get to the fun part, which is actually the stamping. So stay tuned. Be right back when this dries. Alright, as promised, They are now smoothed out, and I went ahead and cleaned up the cuticles and applied some liquid latex for the stamping part. We're going to be using Maniology MXM010 from the Memphis Mod box. I decided to go ahead and use the little curvy design with all the circles and curves because it's going to go really well with my letters, which are going to be more angular, no curves included. So we're going to go ahead and do this in white, and I'll be right back with the stamp. And there we've got a perfect stamp right there. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the edges that I don't want so that I can get that on my nail. And all I did was use my little trusty lint roller. And now I just decide where I want it on my nail. I'm thinking right about here is about right. So now I've got my stamp on there, and I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next one. And here we are with another stamp, which we'll go ahead and clean that up, and then we'll go ahead and place it. But I'm thinking I can get away with placing it without cleaning it up, so we're going to go ahead and try it. And it worked out pretty well, or at least just the way I was expecting. So we're going to go ahead and clean off the stamper because I've got a little stuff left so that we can get to the fun part, which is going to be our letters. So we're at the final part, and I decided that I'm going to spell out yay, Y-A-Y. I've already gotten the first Y on there, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and just do the A and the other Y. And we're going to do that in Jazzercise, which is the pretty like electric blue that came with this. And since the letters are pretty small, you really don't have to use a whole bunch of paint. Just enough to get it covered and swipe it. So I see my A, but I'm not super happy with the way it turned out. What we're going to go ahead and do is clear it off and do it again, and then this time I won't lift it up quite so quickly. And as you can see, while I'm cleaning it out, I've got a little cap full of acetone, and my trusty cotton claw is my tool. And I just dip that in and then rub it down so that I can get back to stamping. And like if I ever stamp something that I really don't like on my nail, I use a peel off base coat most of the time. So it's usually not, oh no, now I need to go through numerous steps to clean it up and get back to where I want it to be. But so far, I can definitely say that I like the Memphis Mod box. I was really surprised because I was like, I'm not sure if this is really my speed. This really isn't, you know, my thing. I'm real more into like fantasy items, not so much spelling out and expressions. But I also find that I just find it really fun. So if it's fun, might as well do it, right? So this time my A came out way better. So now we're going to go ahead and stamp it. But first we're going to go ahead and put a little bit, you know what? We're not going to put any of the flash dance on there. We're just going to go ahead and stamp it. And I chose that whited out spot because I thought it would work best. And I forgot to clean it off. The tragedy. The tragedy. But we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Alright, it took a little doing, but I managed to go ahead and fix that little bit boo-boo on my edge of my nail. And now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and do one more letter, just the Y, so that we can, you know, stay in with the pattern that I've already set up. And we're going to go ahead and swipe that real quick. And stamp it. And of course, I probably need to clean this off because that was not satisfactory. Except for the 9. The 9 looks great. So, I've cleaned off the stamp. And we're going to go ahead and wipe down that Y and try it again. And now that that's all clean, we're free to go ahead and try that one more time to get it just right. And now I have the Y that I want. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of flash dance into the empty spot so that it matches the other Y that I did. So we're basically just taking a little paintbrush and putting it in. And you guys will have to forgive me, not quite expert level at reverse stamping yet. But I've learned that the one way to get something done and become comfortable with it, even though it scares you, is to just go ahead and do it over and over again until it loses that ability to frighten you. And there we've got that last Y on, and it's got its orange, so it matches the Y previous to it. And now all I have to do is clean up cuticles and we'll have a final look. Alright, so we've got all of our stamps in place, our gradient beneath, so you can see the gradual color change and then the pop of blue. It occurred to me while I was cleaning up my cuticles that I've done this video for a good minute, and we haven't really talked like we do with all of my swatch videos, because basically super focused obviously on getting it done and getting it done correctly and in a timely manner because you guys have stuff to do. Basically, I just wanted to say overall that patience is a virtue when doing nail art. Like, you'll see a lot of the tutorial videos where it's sped up, or the person's had time to practice this for like months before they go ahead and film it for you. And you'll go into it and try it yourself and say, why isn't it turning out? It's okay. Basically, the big thing is to be patient with yourself, because some techniques are new to you and some you're already familiar with. Like, for example, I love Instagram just because it's such a great nail community, and everyone's really supportive and offers all these helpful tips. And I forgot who I was talking to today, but during the conversation, they were saying that they haven't really done any reverse stamping yet. And my advice was pretty much start off with something you're familiar with on the majority of your nails, and then work your way up to the thing that you're not familiar with, so that you don't get in over your head and feel extremely frustrated and end up giving up or stopping partway through and just saying, you know what, forget it. So it was really fun to have the opportunity to share this time with you guys and to get a chance to look at the Memphis Mod box. I'm definitely saying that I like it now because I get to spell out things on my fingers. Okay, that wasn't something I thought originally I was gonna like, because I was like, what could I possibly have to say? Also, a lot of my words are more than 5 letters long, or they're 5 letters long and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't see my thumb. So I wasn't originally super hyped to do it, and then I got the chance to play around with the box. I'm going to just say right up front that my favorite part is going to be the patterns, because I think I'm going to spend a lot of time doing some reverse stamping looks with these, because as you can see, they're like big enough that once you stamp it, you can clearly see where one design ends and another begins. That's going to be a huge help to me because I'm older, and I'm not going to say that I'm totally blind yet, but definitely like smaller designs give me a lot more trouble doing that. So I like that part, and as you can see, I really do like the colors, mostly because I found that there are other colors that I like that go along with it, like bubblegum from last month, and Nico from the February box, the fantasy one. So if you do want to see some more videos like this, or you enjoyed hanging out with me while I struggled through creating a look pretty much off the fly. I kind of dreamed of the colors, but had no idea what I was doing before I went into this video. Hit subscribe and like, and I'll keep doing these as well as swatches for you guys. Although I'm gonna say, at least until I'm comfortable with my camera, we're gonna get more swatches than we are nail art videos, just because seriously, the stamping around my camera tripod was a struggle by itself. But as always, once you get done doing something and you see the finished product, it makes the effort all worth it. So I'll go ahead and post a pic of this on my Instagram, and I'll go over step by step on my blog what I did, and I'll connect the link to the two so that if you want to follow along, you have that option too. Thanks again for watching and joining me today. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night.